The Software Leaders Uncensored podcast, where tech leaders grow beyond the code.
You're listening to Software Leaders Uncensored. I'm Steve Taplin, CEO, serial entrepreneur, and currently writing my second book about what I've learned building 30 ventures, having 20 of those fail and 10 wins. I've taken companies public, franchised companies nationwide, and raised tens of millions of dollars, all powered by one thing, custom software. Now through my company, Sonotify, I help tech leaders scale engineering teams with elite nearshore engineers who move fast and deliver. Each episode, I sit down with real software leaders to unpack what's working, what's broken, and how to actually build what matters. So let's dive in. Today, we have Srikanth Victory out of Irving, who is a technologist, from CTO, professor, board member, current CTO of Agility Insights. Sri, so glad to have you today.
Thank you for having me.
Sri, in 60 seconds or less, walk us through the journey that brought you to where you are today in your career.
Awesome. Thank you, Steve. So I've been all time in the IT industry for about 28 to 29 years. So if I want to do the backward, I've been currently serving as a CTO at Agility Insights.ai. It's one of the product development SaaS product, cloud native product company. So prior to that, I worked at various Fortune companies such as Walmart, Kimberly-Clark, even at the high-end retailer, Neiman Marcus and Common Spirit, many different places. One thing common across all the time, I've been on the data analytics and AI part since 2008, 2009, from the BI world to AI. So that comes with me along the way. Wherever I go, that comes with me. So that's where I'm all-time IT, even on the IT side. So I'm more business understanding and try to section between the business and IT to develop the software. So that's why I'm here.
Excellent. So a 28-year career rising up through the ranks. And you currently teach at a couple schools. Is that your way of giving back? And because, you don't make a ton of money teaching. So why have you chosen to teach some as an adjunct professor at a few colleges?
Sure. So as you rightly said, I want to give it back to the community. I learned this software development in a more organic way. I came up in my career. So a lot of things, as I mentioned earlier, whether it's a data analytics, whether it's a cloud. So when I learned a lot of things, I used to do a lot of mentoring to the many people. And I started mentoring, and this professor job came on its own. I was not seeking for it. The career was finding me. So then I thought, okay, it's not about the money. It's giving back to the young community and where we can try to bring them up more aspirational. So currently I'm serving at Northwestern University and also Portland State University. So those two places. So it's going to be yearly once or twice I used to take the classes for them, for MS students and also undergraduate students.
Amazing. And that says a lot about who you are personally, the fact you do it. Let's talk about your company, Agility Insights, and the platform and the metrics that your team does. For those who are unfamiliar with Agility Insights, tell us what you guys do and tell us about your platform.
So this platform, I want to talk about Agility Insights. So this is going to be a more four-in-box platform, we call it. What do you mean four-in-box platform if you wonder about it? So it is going to be a combination of strategy management, project management, change management, and also the team management. So all of them four-in-box, it's going to help to accelerate the strategy execution platform. So that's going to be in a nutshell. So this is going to be more cloud native, as I mentioned, strategy execution enterprise platform to help organizations accelerate strategy execution by aligning teams. It's all about the agile teams, improving performance and achieving outcomes faster and better with agility. In a nutshell, this platform is from the top level executive all the way down to the delivery team to execute the strategy, from strategy all the way to project initiation and deliverables. That's all about.
Let me ask you a question. As a guy who was involved in data and AI before it became ultra sexy these past couple of years, last time I checked, AI doesn't work very good if you don't have your data if you don't have the right data platform, if you don't have everything organized, structured, and the right governance on that. So tell us, what does your platform with Agility Insights plug into, and how do you overcome companies not having the perfect data platform?
Excellent. That's a great question. So you rightly said it's about the data governance, it's about the data. But beyond that, how it's going to be adopted. Most of the AI projects are failure because of the lack of adoption. So the way we implemented the AI, It's infused into the product. It's part of the UI. In other words, it's giving a recommendation, it's giving insights. So they are going to use it day in, day out. They are not going to get away from there. It's more infused into the platform. So that's one of the greatest opportunity of the adoption. A. B, the data wise, we are trying to do with the transactional data. A lot of time the analytics, what they do that, they try to move all the data to their data fabric or data lake, where they try to do all the processing data. So more often than not, the data may not be having a quality. In this case, we try to do directly at the transactional data. So it means it's going to be very powerful, infusing as part of the platform. So the adoption is, and that's why it's more excited. The people are using it, they're seeing the value directly.
As we're seeing, AI is changing daily with the advancements and the new tools that are coming out. But it always comes back to, and Mark Zuckerberg made a pretty bold statement about 2 weeks ago, saying that he thinks within 5 years, Meta's engineering team will be 60% smaller than it is today. Now, I call bullshit. I think that's pretty aggressive, but not to argue that point, but the power of AI, whether you're building into software engineering workflows or other, it all comes down to the quality of the data and the governance, as you've stated. So tell us about your experience with that.
So the data governance and data quality, it's a paramount for any AI. Okay, that's without any good quality of the data, you cannot do that one. So in many organizations, bigger organizations, when I worked previously, we get the data from a disparate data sources. It's not coming from one place. That's one of the challenge. At times, the challenge is also going to be the consumption. We don't know where the data, who is having a single source of data, a single source of truth, and single source, the quality data where it resides, or single version of truth. We call it two different things: single source of truth, single version of truth. So we won't have the data in multiple places. That's one problem. And then doing the data quality, and we want to make sure most of the data quality, they try to do the cleanse the data after the fact. So what I did that one in the previous company in other places, we started correcting the quality of the data when we are trying to collect the data itself. It's not going to be after the fact. Say, for example, the zip code is not right. I'm just making it. A phone number is not entered properly. Let's make it in the place where we are collecting the data. Let's fix the problem. We put the validations over, collect the data in a proper way, so that ongoing the data is correct. So a lot of people that try to fix the problem after the fact. So that one thing that I made a difference. We made a difference. And then data governance. So a lot of time the data governance is more acted as a red tape in many companies. People don't like any kind of governance.
Yeah.
So what we call that one data stewards. We are trying to create a lot of champions. So when you try to create the data stewards, make them the people very passionate about the data. We started doing the data dictionary properly. Yeah. And we started making sure data tables are going to be loaded. You want to make sure the person is having a knowledge. A group of data stewards, they know about the knowledge before they before they duplicate the tables or duplicate the data. So these people are going to be the guardians. The stewards are going to be the guardians for those data. So we try to get them rather than putting a lot of governance, red tape, more like a mentoring and helping other people. So when you try to mentoring, people start accepting it and embracing it. So the data governance, the way I acted was more like a data stewards, more helping and mentoring rather than enforcing.
That's definitely a better way than say governance, because everybody cringes when they hear that. Let's talk about some projects you're working on. You mentioned earlier you have some Gen AI and AI agents that you're doing. Tell us about that.
Sure. So there are two parts of AI I would consider one. Okay, one is called classical AI, or in other words, analytical AI. In those days, we used to have the analytical AI. They're using it nowadays. Analytical AI is nothing but a typical machine learning and deep learning mechanism where we do have a classification, clustering, correlation, principal component analysis, regression. It's all like a classical or analytical AI. The other one is called Gen AI. Generative AI. Generative AI is going to be under two divisions, I would say. One is the text generation, the content generation. The other one is the agents and agentic AI. So we try to have the product. We do have both analytical AI and Gen AI. Again, Gen AI means including content generation and agents. When it comes to the agents, we can try to create like more agents. We try to create a more personal agent for every single user. Whenever within our platform, Agility Insights, so they can ask the questions. The agents are going to help to objective key results. If they want to create the business outcome, you don't want to do that one. You can ask our agent. The agent is going to create more tailored and all based on the industry standard, based on your company needs. It's going to create the OKR, objective key results. Is creating it. Not only the business outcome, and it's also creating the projects. It's also creating the deliveries and stories in a few minutes that is acting as an agent.
Gotcha.
We also create or it could be a multi-engine we created. So what it does that when you can ask the question, it's very similar to the chat GPT, but you're going to ask the question within our platform. You can ask the metrics, you can ask any type of details about the particular product team or outcome, anything. It's going to give the response in a few seconds.
So what's a real world worst case or use case that you're most excited about right now?
So I want to tell about two parts. So one of the latest technology stack, it's called MCP, Model Context Protocol. I used to write a lot of blog, and you can also see it on my blog, on my LinkedIn. So where I mentioned that came out just hardly 3-4 months, and within OpenAI, it's coming only for last 1 or 2 months. So what does it mean that when MCP? Let's talk about technology part, and then I'll talk about the business use case. The technology part is we can try to leverage not only the LLM, we can also use our own internal APIs. Internal APIs, we have hundreds of APIs out there. We are trying to give a life to the APIs so that our natural language query or could be the LLM, it's going to be even more richer. So that part technology stack, I'm very excited about using APIs. The second business use case standpoint of view, as I mentioned earlier, if you want to ask some questions in our product about team management, or could be a structural agility or assessment related or outcome related, any type of questions when you're asking, when you try to use the LLM or our own RAG is nothing but retrieval augmented generation, you try to get the data as close as using our own data, but that's not enough. When you start using APIs, the data is getting more precision. Whenever you're asking some questions, the response are going to be more precision because of APIs. So when you try to combine between the technology stack and the business use case, so it's going to be an amazing and beautiful rate, giving the capability to the customer. They're enjoying it. They're able to get response everything what they wanted, and it's at the fingertips. They don't want to search. They don't want to click 100 or 10 dashboard to go and click the data. So they can ask the question right and get the response in a few seconds. So it's going to be the business use case and the technology stack. It's a combination of both. It makes wonders.
I love it, Sri, and I love your excitement around even talking about that. That is fantastic. Let's talk about your engineering team. You're currently leading a team of 40 engineers. What's your philosophy when it comes to talent development and culture?
So one of the biggest challenge, I would say, for any CTO or any CIO, and one of the my peer somewhere in the different insurance company, they used to say that when you are telling that one, it resonates with me. Every CTO, CIO, they also play a role of CHRO, human resource officer. Okay, there if you want to do talent retention, the technology is evolving, it's coming once something new. So how you want to keep knowledge? There are two ways you can do that one. One, we want to hire the right person. The other one is upskilling the existing resources. So the culture is going to be, we want to make the people to fail. That's okay. But at the same time, we want to make them accountable. So what I do that from culture standpoint of view, let me tell, and then talent part, I'll try to two parts. Culture standpoint of view, I try to make them more empowered. So I always say that when family, health, and personal is number one priority. Work is a distant two priority, not number two, distant two. I would say it because when you try to take care of them, in return, they are taking care of the product, they are taking care of the company. So we always want to take care of the employees. In return, they'll take care of the customers and product on its own. So I create a culture, it's going to be more accountable, ownership driving. Okay, so that's where I try to instill them and taking care of the number one priority for them. In terms of the talent acquisition and the talent retention, the talent retention standpoint of view, I try to do three things. This is my philosophy. Number one, learning and growing, I want to give an opportunity. When someone is going to get the learning and growing, they're very happy. On top of that, recognition. So when you give the recognition, proper recognition, appreciation, some certificates, trophy, okay, now and then they're doing an amazing job. So when the person is having a learning, growing, and recognition, all three they're getting it. And of course, work-life balance as part of the culture.
Fantastic.
No one wants to go. The salary is going to be immaterial. The salary is going to be the least for them. I'm not saying the salary is not going to be taken care. I'm saying that's people are not having in the mind because they're very happy and content. So that's
your engineering team, is it remote? Are you hybrid? Do you have in person? How are you structured?
So the team is completely laid all over the place. Okay, it's not in one place. Some of them are in US, some of them in Spain, Azerbaijan, India, all different places, Pakistan. So people are many different countries. People are Ukraine. People are all over the place.
Okay.
So we work all the Zoom calls. It's going to be on the video calls. So in my meeting, the video call is a mandate. Okay, they'll come there because that's how we can have a connectivity. I call it as a more digital body language. When I want to get a cues, people are all over the place. When you try to turn off, I don't want to talk to Steve. Yes, so I want to talk to right. I want to talk to the real person. So that's how you start that one. So it works pretty amazing. Though it's remote, we don't feel remote, and we do meet. Last year I went to India, I met many folks in person. So that's how we do have.
So managing a worldwide team remotely, how have you been able to work through time zone challenges with solving problems that require all hands on deck?
True. Yes. I do have one team, India team and Pakistan team. They work till Central Time. I'm in Central Time zone till 11.
Okay.
Till
Okay.
11. For Azerbaijan and Spain team, they work till 2 p.m. Central Time. People are there from Colombia, you know, a person from Colombia, and US team, they work till 4, 5 o'clock Central Time. So,
Gotcha.
so we do have some of the India team, the knowledge, we'll try to have any type of support. We keep the L1, L2 support with the Colombia, Spain team and the US team. They try to manage in their absence.
Okay. So you have everybody staggered so you have enough overlap.
Yeah, so that like we're having around the clock we do have customers from Saudi Arabia as Saudi Arabia. So we do have the India team supporting. They're taking care of those days, those time zone. India team and Spain, it's more overlapping. It's just a 2 hours difference. So we try to take care of the customer around the clock. So I think it's managing so far so good, and we're able to handle it.
Fantastic. Let's talk about your tech stack. And so you're all in on Azure, OpenAI. Tell us about your tech stack and why you chose that.
So before I joined this company, Azure has already been chosen. Okay, so I want to kind of say that message. But I'm very happy with that. And I worked in all the cloud technology. In my previous company, I worked in AWS and Azure. In my early days in Walmart, we used Google, GCP, and other companies. So we touched Kimberly Cloud, Azure. So I worked pretty much all three cloud stack. So for me, there is no big difference from one cloud to another cloud. Having seen all of them, if there is a new feed or capability comes in one cloud, I bet within 3 months you can see it in another cloud. 3 months is max.
Yep.
So they tend to be feeding each other. So for me, it all things be more or less same and cost wise and everything is not a big difference in my view based on my experience. However, Azure comes with the technology. We are using SQL Server. When you try to use its own cloud native type of products, that's where it's making a big difference when you try to use Azure. We are using SQL Server that works very well. And also some of the learning part, it's pretty easy. We are using a .NET Web API, some of the technology stack. So when you try to use all those technology stack and goes hand in hand, so Azure is going to be a right choice. We are using Azure Bus. As I said, everything is going to be in and around Azure. If you had chosen AWS, pretty sure we would have chosen AWS in-house products and capabilities. So in my mind, it's not a big difference, but Azure is a pretty good choice. OpenAI, they're having a good partnership with the Azure. If I had gone to AWS, I would have gone to Cloud or some Bedrock or anything. As I said, the capability wise, everyone is competing to each other. So
Yep.
with the data set and everything, Azure is going to be pretty safe and easy to find the talent also.
You want to keep it within the cloud tech stack and the associated products to make sure everything's running smoothly and not rock the boat.
That's correct. You don't want to do the crossover. So everything's going to be within that one that's going to be very powerful. That's what it happens right now.
That's good advice. As a CTO in today's crazy world, things changing constantly, what's the biggest challenge you're facing now?
I would say that talent is always going to be the challenge. People keeping them longer and retention and then upskilling. It's always constantly changing. And also we want to have the knowledge base. I always say that when the talent part, the 4 components, business understanding, data understanding, the core expertise. The core expertise is nothing but whatever it could be. It could be a .NET or could be a React JS or could be a machine learning engineer or Gen AI engineer. The core expertise based on the talent. The last one is a test. In other words, if I'm a developer, I want to have 4 things. Business understanding, data understanding, my core expertise, whatever my core expertise. Let's say I'm a React JS developer. I'm a good in React JS developer. Plus testing. I should know how to test. If the person is going to be a QA developer, again, business understanding, data understanding. In QA, whatever the expertise of the QA Selenium product, they have to know about Selenium and automation plus testing. If the business analyst, I want the same 4 things. The core expertise is what change, but the business understanding and data understanding and the testing, everyone should be a tester because it's a product-based company. So we want to know how to test it. So plus we want to understand the business and the data without understanding data and business. Just having a lone expertise, core expertise, it's nothing. I used to call it as a button developer and screen developer. If a person is having a core expertise, he's just developing a screen. So nowadays it's not enough. We want to understand all 4 together.
Makes a lot of sense. How has your team taken the step to incorporate various AI tools into your software engineering workflow and processes?
So what we do that one is anytime we try to let's say AI part, we try to do the cross knowledge transfer. So one good thing about within our team, within our company is everyone will share to each other. It's not about any known knowledge hoarding. The knowledge sharing is very high. If someone is going and asking a question, they'll be immediately sharing it. So I try to remove that the job security, the dirt or anything in the mind. It's going to be more collaboration. Is one of the more fluid thing. So once a person learns, we try to do the cross knowledge transferring. When you do the code review, we want to make the code review person is going to be indirectly a backup person. The code review person. So we try to keep the knowledge so it's more like a backup. In those days, if you look at Hadoop, the Hadoop is having a lot of data nodes. We try to create like the knowledge to be spread out to multiple people.
Okay. Makes sense. Makes sense. What, from an engineering leader today, when you're looking at the productivity of your team, what metrics do you focus on?
We do like a lot of type of metrics. We do the velocity. We do the cycle time, lead time. So quite a few things, and also happiness metrics. In fact, as part of our product, we do a 4-lens dashboard. So we do quite a few metrics. What I mentioned, the burn rate, all of them we do have it. We try to measure based on the needs, based on the scenario. We try to look at it, certain metrics, and how to improvise. In some cases, it could be a velocity. In some cases, it could be a cycle time or lead time. The various metrics. Happiness metrics is also very important for us. If the team is not happy, right, then something is not right. So it means over the period of time, the productivity is going down.
So I like to joke, you do it long enough, you figure out how to do it right. What's one brutal lesson you wish you learned earlier as a CTO?
So yeah, there's a lot more. So if I had known about that one, before COVID, I was not sure about how to handle all the global team members.
Okay.
Previous company and all, I used to more rely on the people who are going to be at on-site. So I think everything can be done only at on-site. After COVID or during COVID period, I learned about it. Wow, the global talent is amazing. The world is flat. That's the time I felt.
The pandemic definitely made that clear, especially in tech.
That's right. So I wish if I had known before, I would have tapped the talent long ago, long before. Because back in those days, I used to struggle to find some good talent. I didn't know that the talent is widespread. I can easily find the talent from many different countries. It's that easy. I didn't think about it. I was trying to rely more on the on-site. I used to tell them, no, I want to have this person to come here. You have to relocate. I was telling about it. No, it's not needed. We could have done with a Zoom call. In those days, I used to have a WebEx. We could have done like a lot more things in those days. That particular one, it comes to my mind, one of those things. I could have tapped the best talent even before.
So, and I'm a big believer in remote work as well. I have over 100 team members that are all remote. And, one of the things I've found as leaders with a remote environment, we have to put a lot more effort to create a culture than if we were in an office or we were all together more. What are your thoughts on that?
So what do you mean? Let me clarify that one. So when you talk about the culture means give me within the office?
With having an entirely remote workforce, people are isolated on their islands. And for the most part, I think most people love it, but people also do kind of get lonely. Mental health issues start to be more prevalent. And, it's harder to have a culture in your company remote. So what are some of the strategies you do to overcome that?
Great point. So the number one is going to be this video call. I try to have all the time video call. In my meeting, let's say if I join a couple of minutes late to the meeting, there are 20 people or 10 people are there. The moment I join, it's having all the flash. Everyone is going to turn on the video. Okay, so that's going to be a good thing. Okay, so number one, when you try to have even one-on-one or the group meeting, when you have the video call, that's coming number one. Many times what I do that one is sometimes one-on-one or other couple of people. I try to have once in a while water cooler conversation on the Zoom call.
Okay.
Specific work. We just like chit chat. Or we do in real life. When you go and take the coffee, we'll be having a chat. Similar to that, when I try to have a conversation, very casually get to know about each other. I do know many of the team members, their family. In my previous company and our family members, I know that when the kid names, I know that. And also, I tried to know even my previous company, they used to have a lot of pets. I used to know the pet name also. Okay, so because casually, once you talk that, I'll try to remember. It just gets in my memory. So I do that once. When you try to have a conversation, it's going to be very smooth, and that's one way of doing that one. The other way of doing that culture is going to be once in a while. Done anything much in this company? My previous company, what I used to have that one is we try to meet with the family. one day. We try to have once in a quarter or once in 6 months. We try to bring the family and kids, and we try to introduce. We'll have a good chit chat. Okay, kind of having the family get to know each other. Those kind of stuff it makes a little bit more closer, and also people are there widespread. We can learn about each other from the different country, and they try to come and bring some talent. Some people do the good in music, some people good in singing. So those kind of stuff we used to do in the town hall meeting. We try to have something different, a type of forum where we can try to appreciate and try to have a bit of fun part we used to have. So those are the different ways we can try to. I'm not going to say type of substitute, but not the complete replacement.
No, I think those are good tips. And Sri, thank you for getting uncensored with us today. Excited to see how you help shape the next chapter of Agility Insights and tech leadership at large. Any final shout outs or advice for tech leaders you'd like to give?
So thank you. First of all, thank you for having me here. All these questions are going to be more ad hoc. I really enjoyed every bit of the question. It's a thought-provoking question, and try to pull back some of the responses, from my memories. You try to bring that one. Thank you. The final thoughts for the tech leader is, as I mentioned earlier about the talent. I would say three things. I would say number one, any tech leader, whether it's a CTO or any level, try to get the feet wet. You should know what's happening and how to do it, what are the functionality. Sometimes you can try to do POC, we can try to do touch and feel about it so that we know how that works, number one. Number two, how we can try to bring it to the organization. It doesn't mean that when every new technology we want to bring it to the organization, is it going to be fit for our needs? There could be a lot of new technology comes out every single day. It doesn't mean that every single one it's going to be fit to our need. Example, blockchain. By any means, blockchain is not applicable to my company. I use blockchain in my previous company, not here. So just because it's a shiny object, blockchain, can we bring it here? If it's not applicable, it's not applicable. So it's going to be horses for courses. So we have to put the right horse for the right course. So I want to kind of tell that one. Last but not least is once you know about that one talent, how you want to bring that one, the talent, upskilling, the knowledge, residing. It's very important. The talent grooming is important. It's a more emotional element is there. And how do you want to keep the retention? So those are things I learned over the years, how to keep the talent, upskilling, and the retention part. I'm glad I learned it, but it took a while to understand how to retain the talent, how to develop the talent, and how to acquire the new talent. That's an art. So those are three things I would say for the tech leaders.
Great tips, Sri. We appreciate it. Thanks for being on the show. That's it for this episode of Software Leaders Uncensored. I'm Steve Taplin, and if this episode sparks something, share it, subscribe, or send it to somebody you know in the trenches, and stay bold and keep building. Thank you.